Yo, what's good YouTube? It's your boy Vader, aka Pro Benchwarmer. Welcome back to another episode of Boxed Benchwarmers, a series where we discuss every incomplete archetype and Duel Links, their relative history within our meta, and what cards they need to actually become competitive. Now, if you're enjoying this series, hit that like button and subscribe for more weekly content. But if you want to join the conversation, feel free to hit up the Discord. Link is in the description below. Now, we cannot talk about the meta in Duel Links and Duel Monsters decks without saying Harpies even once. Harpies were so crazy and fundamental to establishing the meta in the early stages in Duel Links. When we first got Harpies Hunting Ground, which was available as an unlocked skill the minute the game was released, it was bananas. The first field spell, or any card really, that just minused up your opponent for free. All you have to do is summon a Harpie monster. You get to pop your opponent's back row, or just back row in general. And then with the Harpies, them being normal monsters, the ones that we played at least, you can use Order to Charge to pop it and pop your opponent's monster on the field, effectively just minusing up your opponent all the time. It was really crazy because back row stopped being Mirror Wall, Michizuri, so on and so forth, that could not react to Harpies Hunting Ground. People were playing cards like Dispel or Twister to get rid of the field spell, as well as back row like Security Orb or Wild Tornado, just to punish Harpie players for popping their own back row, as well as their own Order to Charges and their own enemy controllers, as quick play started to become the meta because you needed something to react to Harpies. Since the field spell got nerfed to it being in your hand instead of being on the field, effectively being a -1, Harpies have never seen competitive play, like actual use in Legend and King of Games. Harpies just aren't fit because they don't have a win condition. Their monsters are really like little, and their effects are garbage. I mean, not really, they don't really have any effects. But there's no win condition, there's no strategy, and going -1 for a deck that doesn't issue you anything like that is not worth it. So the first thing that Harpies needs is actually for their skill to be unnerfed. Now, a lot of decks, competitive decks at least, do not play a lot of back row other than maybe Amazoness. That's the only deck right now that will set 3 back row and actually wait for you to actually react to that. But any other deck will just summon monsters and have maybe 1 back row or not. So if we get new Harpie monsters that let us swarm the field, your opponent having no back row means that you're gonna have to pop the field spell regardless, because it is a mandatory effect. So it's not beneficial to have it nerfed when you go -1 to put it on the field to then have to pop it like next turn. So the field spell really needs to be unnerfed. But the first in terms of Harpie cards that we need, that's some new monsters, and we've seen these in Elegant My events. And this one first is Harpies Harpies. When it's normal summon, you can just bounce a Wing Beast on your side of the field, bounce one of your opponent's monsters, and when this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to grab a Harpie from the deck. Now it says Wing Beast type monster with 1500 less attack from the deck to your hand. So it could be Kujaku or just any Harpies monster other than Harpies Harpies. Its name becomes Harpie Lady on the field, so you can use things like Phalanx Pike as you're boosting, sending Harpie monsters to the graveyard, boosting this thing's attack. So that's really good. The next card is actually Harpie Channeler, which means its effect says you can discard a Harpie card, which Harpies Harpies secondary effect really works with Harpie Channeler because you get to thin the deck again, but you get to summon a Harpie monster from your deck to the field in defense position. You can actually grab Harpie's Pet Dragon with this, because it states when a dragon type monster is on the field, when this is on the field, it changes its level to level 7, just like Harpie's Pet Dragon. So this is actually really fundamental and really good in actual TCG Harpie Lady decks. But in Duel Links, it just lets us spread the field out really easily and put things in the graveyard, once again for Phalanx Pike, which is I'm pretty sure this is the only deck that can actually utilize that card. So we're gonna move into the Hysteric cards that Harpies need. So speaking about the Hysteric cards, there are 2 Hysteric cards in the game for Harpies, and the first one is Hysteric Sign. This card grabs your Elegant Egotist from the deck or the graveyard, allowing you to spam more Harpie Ladies onto the field. And when this card goes from the field to the graveyard, you can add up to 3 Harpie Ladies from your deck, with different names. So you can grab Harpies Dancer, Harpie Channeler, Harpie Lady, or you can grab Harpies Harpist as well. So you actually go crazy plus. And with the fact that the field spell's effect to pop a spell or trap on the field is mandatory, it's actually good to use this card, get Egotist, get another Harpie Lady onto the field, and then pop this card, because in the end phase you grab 3 extra cards from your deck. That's actually really good. And then the next card I got 2 words for. It's Hysteric Party, and the 2 words are Soul Charge. This card lets you spam the field with as many Harpie monsters to the field. All you have to do is discard 1 card. You can actually discard Harpies Harpist, leave it in the graveyard, and special summon any other Harpies, because in the at the end of the phase, end phase, sorry about that, you get to grab another Harpie monster from your deck. This is really good with swarming, and no other card in Duel Links has this level of swarming. And I believe with the field spell you still have to pop a monster, but I believe since it's 3 at one time, I mean not pop a monster, you have to pop a back row. I believe since it's 3 at one time, and maybe 1, but maybe you guys can correct me in the comment section below. I'm not sure how this interacts with the field spell. So let's move on to how we can make Harpies better now that we covered the Harpie cards. Alright, the first way I think that we can make Harpies better is that we can go the stun route and give us Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. This card will actually help Harpie, since Harpie can swarm the field. You can put Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds, and now your opponent has to play slow to get rid of Stormwinds because they cannot special summon their monsters. Now there's only 1 deck out in Duel Links that can actually special summon wind type monsters, which Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds, I haven't read it yet. It says no monster can be special summoned except for wind monsters. The only deck that can special summon wind monsters is actually Fur Hire right now, as Recon and Dampa are both wind. So that's the only deck that I know that can actually get around this by actually special summoning wind type monsters, but no other deck can, so they have to normal summon, attack, and since we don't have a main phase 2, they just lost out on whatever potential powerful play they could have made just because they had to normal summon a monster. And the easy way we can get this out is Swallow's Nest, which states tribute 1 faced up winged beast type monster, special summon a winged beast monster from the deck with the same level as the tributed monster onto the field. So you can actually tribute Harpies Harpist in your opponent's draw phase to get Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds on the field, and on your in your end phase you get to grab a Harpie card from your deck to your hand to actually make your plays as you just slowed down your opponent's plays. I think that this is really beneficial for Harpies because they need a way to slow your opponents down, grab the pieces they need, and continue to put plays together. And with putting it in the end phase, putting it in your opponent's draw phase, getting a Barrier Statue of Stormwinds means that next turn, hell, if you draw a Phalanx Spike, once again, I'm still going to bring up Phalanx Spike because it's the only deck that can actually abuse Phalanx Spike, because all the Harpie monsters are Harpie Lady on the field and in the graveyard, so you can boost up your opponent, your monsters into crazy high stats. Next route I believe that Harpies can go is more of a control barrier. They swarm their own side of the field, they pop your opponent's cards and keep control in their favor. And the cards that I think that Harpies need for this is actually Icarus Attack. If you click this video, you know I was going to put Icarus Attack somewhere on this list. Icarus Attack, you tribute 1 winged beast type monster, target 2 cards on the field, destroy them. That is really good because on your opponent's turn, after they commit to their normal summon or commit to their board when they go into the battle phase, you can flip up Icarus Attack and pop 2 cards, 2 monsters, 2 back row, you name it. You have to tribute their winged beast monster, but you really don't care for that in a Harpie Lady deck because you can get them back with Hysteric Party and so on and so forth. This is actually a really good card for Harpie Ladies. And the next card that's actually really good as well is Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Discard 1 card, target 1 card your opponent control, place that target on the top of the deck. So you start to control their deck and field with Icarus Attack and Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, and then on your turn you get to since you put cards in the graveyard, Hysteric Party becomes more and more live because you have more cards in the graveyard. You're discarding cards, you can put massive Harpies onto the field and start attacking your opponent for a lot of damage. And I think the next card, which may be a little bit too busted but maybe not as well, is Divine Wind of Mist Valley. This card states you can, if a face-up wind monster you control returns to the hand, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower wind monster from your deck. You can only use that once per turn, but this works so well with Harpie Dancer. You summon Harpie Dancer, bounce it back, you get Harpie Channeler from your deck, and then you normal summon Harpies from your hand. Now you can ditch Harpie Dancer to the graveyard to special summon another Harpie card from your deck, and then use Harpies Harpies to bounce that card back to the hand and bounce your opponent's monsters in your hand. And that's really good at establishing a board, and you can continuously do this with Harpie Dancer every turn. So I think that that's really good. These are the cards that I think Harpies need in order to become competitive again in Duel Links. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do Harpies need? Should Harpies become meta again? Who knows? That's up for you guys to talk about in the comment section below. But this video is done. It's a wrap.